All right, welcome to Claude Design. Now, this was recently released by Anthropic Labs this past Friday. So today's Tuesday, April 21st, 2026. So it's a few days old, and I caught a whiff of this. Basically, I follow Nathaniel Whitmore from the AI Daily Brief, and if you don't listen to that podcast, definitely recommend it. It's a great podcast to keep you up on the cutting edge of AI news, and not a paid plug or promotion. It's just a very valuable resource that I use when I drive home from dropping my kids off every morning to school. But that said, I heard about Claude Design on the podcast today, and it got me thinking. I use Canva, I use a lot of other third-party tools, and I'm always trying to whittle down the number of dependencies on these tools so that I can remove myself from the loop and eliminate myself as a bottleneck. And I live in Claude Code, so what better fit in Claude Design? So we're going to check it out today for the first time and just walk through it. The purpose for this is really for me to actually use it, not just to show you what pie in the sky in general vague terms. I'm actually trying to build a LinkedIn carousel for a scheduled post, and this is my first crack at it because basically I've used SVG and design skills in Claude, and there's a lot of friction points, let's just say, and it does not necessarily render the most on-brand design possible. And so what I'm trying to do is, you can see in the other window I have here, this is my website, Agile Tactics. Now, I've used Claude to build this website from scratch in just a short order of time. I've used WordPress builders and other kind of what is what you get builders in the past, but that's always been human focused and front and center. You have to log in, you have to manually do things. And of course you could do things if you knew code, but pre-AI, most people are not very fluent with that. And so I've abandoned WordPress altogether. And so my website is a custom Astro website using Claude Code, Cloudflare for hosting. I was using GitHub Pages, but I'm building a lot more functionality onto it. So that said, what I'm trying to do is take this design and I'm trying to keep it on brand for my carousel. So we're going to learn about design together. In this quick tutorial, we're going to say, what do you do? Pick all that apply. We'll tailor tips to your workflow. Okay, this is great. I'm going to say design, product, engineering. And there's a lot because we're a one-person solo show here. Agile Tactics is just me for now, and a team of H's. And so we do basically a little bit of everything, but we're going to be using this for product mockups, interactive prototypes. We're going to use it for a lot of different things, brand assets, maybe data dashboards. We're just going to move along here. So start with slides. Okay, we can drop images. So this is good. Oh, we can mount a local folder as well from the import menu, so Claude reads your code base live. Point at what to change. Click comment in the toolbar, then click any element to annotate it. Leave several, they batch into one message when you send. Tweak values live. Knobs mode lets you drag CSS values, sizes, colors, spacing directly in the preview. That's pretty cool. Prompt Claude to apply your adjustments and export anywhere. Now this is money here. So we can share exports to PowerPoint, PDFs, or HTML bundles and save it as a template. All right, so that's just like an intro. So we're going to create a design system so anyone can create good-looking designs and assets. Set up the design system. All right, so we're going to set up the design system by telling Claude Design about your company and attach any design resource you have. Okay. Okay. I don't want to have to reinvent the wheel here. So what I'm going to do is open up Claude Code, put that in a separate window here. And I'm going to ask Claude Code if I'm setting up. I'm not going to type. I'm just going to speak. I am looking to set up Claude Design, and I need a company name and blurb or name of the design system. For example, Mission Impossible, a fast casual pasta restaurant with in-store touchscreen kiosk, mobile app, and website. So basically, I need something for Agile Tactics. All right, I'm using Whisperflow to just capture my audio and then enter it into my Claude Code session. I got a snippet here and I'm putting it in the company name and blurb. Agile Tactics, an enterprise agile consulting and training brand helping mid-career practitioners evolve into AI-powered delivery professionals with a website, member portal, and content platform. Okay, fair enough. That sums it up. And then examples of design systems products, optional. Okay, so link code on GitHub. All right, so GitHub is successfully linked. This requires Chrome or Edge. Okay, so I might have to come back to this setup here. I'm in Safari right now. All right, so I'm in Chrome now. And I'm going to have to set up a few things over again. It's kicking me back to the beginning. I might have to log back in. And let's see what that does. We haven't seen this before. Cool, like that. Wow. What are 6 ways we could display user projects? Share your best ideas. All right, that's enough fanboying already for Claude Design. But let's go ahead and check this out. So learn about Club. Let me go in here and let's go back. I already did this. My designs. Probably didn't save it, and that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and just copy and paste what I already have in here since I didn't save it. All right, so it's already configured. Great, awesome. Okay, so now let's see, link code from your computer. Okay, this is just for random code bases or whatever. So I already got GitHub in there, and that's what I want. A fake file for Figma. I don't want that. I don't need that. Add fonts, logos, and assets. Everything is in my code base. I'm going to add some of these things anyway. I just added a couple images, and I'm not going to I have no custom fonts or anything like that. So everything should be in my code base. So brand notes, yes. I have all my initial brand elements in Claude Code. So Claude Code just said, just give some additional context. So we'll do that. Now, the only downside about Claude Code is that sometimes, all the time, when you get a response, if you try to copy it and paste it, it puts a lot of extra white space in there that you don't need. So you have to manually delete it, but you don't really have to do that. You just type it in to a Claude chat session or whatnot and just have it strip out all that extra white space. I only have 1 carriage return. Everything should be there for my brand voice. And there's clean and version. All right, good. So those are all my notes. Now I'm going to continue to generation. It will take about 5 minutes to generate your design system. All right, let's give it a try. And we'll be back in just a moment. It is exploring the uploaded assets and my repo to understand the brand and product. Wow, this is pretty cool. Like, you could never have imagined that just a few years ago, you would have something so insane as Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, all these tools. And I get it. For some, it's a scary thing, right? It's a very real threat when it comes to traditional job roles and if you're not building stuff. But what the coolest unlock is that it enables everybody to build something. Now, it can be challenging because now everybody can build something, right? But it's more or less along the lines of trying to solve problems. If you already have that muscle, and if you're willing to learn to develop that muscle, you can really create some wonderful, useful digital products. And I don't mean just digital products. You could even do stuff that's outside of the digital realm, right? If you're looking to learn how to be a carpenter, or if you're learning how to become an electrician, or just this interior designer or whatever, there's so many different applications that you could use to apply in the real world that doesn't necessarily have to be revolved around software. Now, the tool is the software, which enables you to just launch whatever you want to launch much more quickly. But yeah, it's just mind-blowing to think. I used to spend hours on CSS Playground just trying to muddle my way through design because I'm not a designer by trade, but I have studied design elements pretty in depth for my own personal usage and for using them at the various companies I've been employed. And it's really been helpful and beneficial to increasing my skill set. Also, the other thing that's pretty crazy is that basic automations were something that came out with tools like APIs and tools like Zapier and if this, then that. All these really early on tools to connect the different tools to unify the data, right? And to hand off the data in a automated fashion so that you could streamline your productivity. But the real unlock has just totally been leveraging of both APIs and MCP Model Context Protocol. And it's really been an eye-opener for me to be able to just open a prompt and just say, Claude, tell me what is on my calendar for the day, or what's the priority for today. Just ask it a question, and based off of all the data that it has, the connection points to my reminders, iOS reminders, my calendar, my inbox. It can surface all the most urgent types of things to pay attention to that I may not be aware of. And I just don't want to sit and waste an hour going in my inbox for Gmail or anything like that. So it's really nice to be able to do that. And it's just an extension of every other thing that you can imagine when it comes to your workday or your personal life. Funnels into the same thing, which is your capacity to handle tasks, whether they're work tasks or personal tasks. You have to learn how to prioritize them. And look, I know it's a challenge because everyone's got a busy life. And if you have to drive into the office, that makes it more complex. If you have a big family or a lot of other dependents that rely on you, every morning I got to wake up and take my kids to school. And it's 30 minutes one way, 30 minutes back. Granted, I work from home and that's just a huge blessing, but it's still time, right? It's still time, and I still have to prioritize the short window I have from the time that they're in school to the time they get home, because I don't want to be stuck in my office all day and all night. Like, the whole point of working from home or using tools for your productivity is not so that you can just grind away at the clock all night long. Yes, sometimes you get an idea and you can get stuck and you can put in longer days than others and get more done, but it's always important to just cut off at some point. And hey, if you can build a website in a couple of days with a few hours each time you sit down, that's progress. If you have in the old way, you know that it is not like, just to create a page could take you a whole day or a few days, coming up with the content, the angle, the story, the copy, editing, proofreading, images, all these things. And if you're not great at it, like I said, you have to pay a designer, you have to pay some other people to help you with it. And I think that's still relevant. You're still going to need to have expert level designers, but you're just not going to need as many of them, right? So that's the challenge with the working landscape today. So you have two options. One is you double down on anti-AI and doing things the old way, which is not really good for the outlook of your career, or you double down on AI and learn it and to your advantage, because there's a lot more that you can do with it than just what you are traditionally trained at. So thinking holistically. But okay, so I know I was like filibustering there for the time that this finished, but it literally did not take that long. And it went through my entire code base. It says missing brand fonts and it's substituting web fonts. That's great. I could come back to that later, I'm guessing. But so far, type, colors, spacing, components, brand, logo in dark, particle network. It captured a bunch of things. Yeah, so I'm using like a particle background in my hero. It's all code generated, and so it's very lightweight, and the Lighthouse scores on my website show that. Again, it's one of those things where with a static website, you can get so much more performance out of it than using a template-based system or builder-based system like WordPress. WordPress is unleashing AI in their ecosystem. But again, you have a lot of things in there that you just might not use from a content perspective. It's a complete management system. That goes without saying. It's going to have extra things that you may not use. But I've always struggled with WordPress because I'm just like, man, I just don't want to go in here and see I've got all these plugins that need to be updated, and I've got security vulnerabilities here and there. And I think the biggest thing for WordPress, biggest gripe I have, is the marketing. Like, I get marketed to every time I log in. It's like, you got to get the security plugin upgrade and Pretty Links Pro and Ultimate. And I'm just like, I just don't want to be marketed to. This is my website. The real point is, if you've been in that boat, struggle is real. But if you haven't, good. I hope you never have to be. As long as you're building with Claude Code or any other LLM that's going to gel with what you're trying to build, you'll be in a good spot. The design system is here, but in the left hand, it's telling me it's building the UI kit. So it's building a whole website UI kit. This is pretty crazy. Okay, brand cards. This is just unreal. My hope is this, right? I have a post that I scheduled for LinkedIn. And again, this is why I'm sharing this video with you. But what I'm trying to build is I'm trying to help get this streamline my content creation right now on WordPress. All I do right now, I put text out and I schedule it. And it sounds simpler than it is. There's research that goes in. It's not just I'm randomly throwing up text. I'm spending time researching different topics and angles and testing them and scheduling them. But I don't have any pretty infographics, list of goals, or images, things like that a lot of people do. I'm a sucker for imagery and visual elements. They make text, they bring it alive, right? And so from a design perspective, it makes sense to have these types of things to help surface the point you're trying to get across with your post. But in any case, I want to build that carousel in LinkedIn. That's my goal. So let's see if this can handle that. I'm not going to go through all the details here. I'll do this offline, but it's really cool to see that the system is live in the design system tab. Okay, it gives me some caveats here. Icons are hero icons via CDN, inlined as SVG in components. Repo didn't ship an icon set, so this is a documented substitution. Okay, testimony copy is real. Yes, that is true. Most of that's from Udemy, but still real testimonials. Confirm against Jira Agile Tactics. Only one UI kit built. Yes, the brief pensioned member portal and content platform. That's currently in development. I have agents working on the build right now, but pointing me to those code bases, no, I don't have any of those yet. We are not working any other third-party design tools at the moment. Everything is scaffolded from my current website design. So at least I have that going. No slide templates. Okay, that's fine. Your turn. Help me make this perfect. Walk the design system tab and mark anything changes requested, specific cards. Okay. I want to create that listicle. I want to ask Claude Design to do this for me. Okay. I'm going to ask. Okay, here's a lesson I want to share with you. I learned is that context is everything. Sometimes too much is unnecessary. What I mean by that is I asked Claude to create a prompt for handing this over to design for the LinkedIn carousel. And here's the handoff prompt, ready to paste into Claude Design. Create a 9-slide LinkedIn carousel for Agile Tactics. Okay, look, it's giving me all these technical details, the colors, accent, text, all this stuff. And I don't feel like I necessarily need all that. Why? Because Claude Design just did a complete audit on my code base and built a design system. So I don't want to be overriding that. I want to see what does it do? I want to see it shine in its own element and not put guardrails around it. So what I did is, for looking at this, I just said, should I be so prescriptive? It does have all my design kit info and scanned code base. Be respecifying things and causing conflicts and hallucinations and things like that. So here's the right version to lean on what design already knows. You need to create a 9-slide LinkedIn carousel for Agile Tactics. Okay, cover, slides 2 to 8. You're copying that. These are just rules and generic text. It's going to put all the styling, which is good. That's what we want. It's already copied in my clipboard. So I will send that. And here is, let's see what it says. Oh, this is interesting. 7 designs. You're a facilitator and haven't realized it yet. Oh, this is pretty cool. 1. Oh, my goodness. This is pretty insane. All right, so we got your calendar is 80% ceremonies and you didn't design and can't change. You'll have to excuse the background. That is my family. Try to get work done. This is what I'm talking about. You have a window of time to get things done, and when they're home, anyway. So if you have to excuse the background noise, crying kids. Okay, so back to the design. It's looking pretty great. You spend more time chasing status than the work takes to actually do. I'm pretty happy with this design, and I gotta be honest with you. I don't see myself creating any PDFs manually anymore. Okay, so I guess the question is, what would this basically get rid of? It would get rid of my Canvas subscription, which I stopped paying for a few months ago. I activated it to do little things here and there, but I have all my assets that I need right now. And anything I don't have, either ChatGPT and DALL-E or Nana Banana or any of the gajillion tools that are out there is going to probably do a much faster and better job than me manually going into Canva. Because last I checked, even their AI capabilities are not so great. This would also replace Gamma. If you heard of Gamma, I'll just show you what I'm talking. Gamma, it basically creates a bunch of different types of PDFs, slide decks, assets, even HTML. In essence, Claude Design is like a Gamma. The way I see it, Gamma, look out. I'm sure they already are on the radar. I've created, so the Agile Architect Lab, created some copy around that and some slides. Don't get me wrong, Gamma is beautiful. I gave it the context of what it is I'm trying to build, and any of my other PDF downloads I put in here. Now, what else does this replace? There's another product. It's called Samcart, right? And Samcart is a shopping cart I am not going to be using for my membership site. The challenging thing is I bought into their marketing. I got the lifetime deal, the one-time fee, and there's like a $50 a year maintenance fee. But I'm probably not going to pay that. Okay, it's a sunk cost. I'll write it off as a tax write-off, but I've been using it. I don't know that I'm going to use it for the long term, because the reality is Stripe integrations work with Claude code pretty nicely. And I have to deal with all this other stuff. But the good news is it'll replace this thing. And this is actually called Typeset. And it's owned by the same company. So Samcart and Typeset, they are part of the same business structure, if you will. But they offer this PDF service to be able to create different PDFs. And the problem is the friction. Again, this is the biggest problem with SaaS today, is that they were not built for AI. And so now they're trying to update for AI, and it's a challenge. That doesn't mean that they're not going to have a market and they're not going to have customers. Obviously, there's going to be some people that they are actually running sales. They're running traffic to their offers, their membership sites, or courses that they're trying to sell, or free guides they're trying to offer. But again, I have to do a lot of manual work, and to try to get it on brand, that is the biggest challenge, because most people can go into any tool and create the assets they want, but they're not on brand. And then to get on brand, you have to upload all your assets and go through that whole process again. Now, I don't need to do that. I just create a brand system based off of my repository, the way my site is designed, and there's no other tool that I think could do exactly what I would want. And this is exactly that. I want to share this with you because it's hot off the trail and news moves fast. And I want you to be able to take action from this. If you have not built a website for yourself, I guess the main call to action and takeaway for this video is you do not need to build the Ferrari right away. You don't have to build the perfect product, so to speak. And if you're an Agile, you know that, but sometimes when you apply that to your own life and your own business, your own brand, you want it to be a certain way. And that's good. You want to have that quality already top of mind. You don't want to just build any old website that looks like anything else and it just has text and some basic colors. You want it to invoke some sort of vibe, brand awareness, a feeling that you get when you see it. Does it make me feel I'm experiencing a brand that is professional and established and knowledgeable and credible? Because those are things that designing can really bring out in the response from the people who are actually going to be consuming your content, right? The humans that are going to be reading your content. Set up a website. Now, my challenge to you is to think about a website for yourself. First name, last name. Most of the time, you're not going to be able to find a domain for that, but I have DannyJLiu.com, and this has been out pre-AI. I spent a long time trying to build this. This is all Hugo is the framework that's used. It's a free template. I just credit them, the designer for this, but it's a one-page website. It's a static website. I don't pay for hosting. It's all on GitHub pages, and it links to all of the things, my portfolio and all the things that I'm doing, right? My podcast, Agile Tactics, even my Udemy courses. And so my challenge is for you, you don't even have to have your domain purchased to set up a website. You just go to GitHub, set up a GitHub account if you don't have one. If you have Claude, great. If you don't, get a Claude account and go ahead and link in the description or the comments and go ahead and start playing around with this, because you can have a website up for yourself that looks professional, like someone professionally designed it, and on a weekend, and basically do one key thing, okay? What it's going to do is help you stand out from everyone else. And in this age of AI right now, if you work in technology, you don't have a website, that is not a good indicator of separating yourself from being a facilitator versus a builder. And that's just the reality of it. Now, you might get away with that in some other industries. They're using Agile and they're not necessarily tech, but for the cost of a couple hours in a weekend to get your website up, that's going to be your launch pad for anything else that you do professionally, it's priceless. So that's it for today. Check out the links in the description. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And I'll see you in the next video.